So let's do a non-spoiler.
Yeah, let's do the non-spoilery thing. I could tell how much you liked it because I get in and then it's just sort of like, hey, can we record now? You want to? And I'm like, okay. All right, Chad, come on. It actually made me, when I saw your video, your immediate reaction video, it made me feel excited and happy for you. At the same time, I was like going, I loved it. I don't love it as much as Chad, and I feel like guilty that I don't. I loved it is the important thing.
Yeah.
And you're absolutely right. You going counter to what a lot of reviewers are saying is kind of important, just, well, between us and anyone who watches the channel, obviously, or pays attention to what we think, because I don't get it either. The second the movie ended, I looked over at John, and by the way, kudos to John Campbell, who I do another podcast with, is the reason I was able to see it yesterday.
Yeah.
He paid for that ticket, and I only had to, hold his hand. He didn't ask for anything else.
That's a good deal.
It was a very good deal. No, just showing. Immediately after, I just looked at John. I was like, "What else do people want?
Yeah,
what are they looking for that they're not getting?" And then I'm really glad, like yourself, I didn't read any reviews. I had read a couple of middling headlines, but hadn't read reviews until I saw the movie. And then I went and I read them last night, and I'm like, I mean, there are points that are fairly valid, but no, I don't. It's weird how this is getting dumped on.
There's some critics, and I don't want to waste too much time talking about this part of it, but there's some negative reviews that I really I don't know what movie they saw, where they're talking about, oh, this was bad and that was bad. I'm like, I don't even know what are you talking about. But then there's some comic nerds I greatly respect, like Lobo talks. I watch his channel all the time. There are a lot of people like him who are like, I was kind of expecting this to happen. It was about. It seems like it was largely lined up with expectations. Like, people were saying like they thought Jason Momoa was great as Lobo, but they didn't. Something about Lobo just was off-putting for them, which is like, really? Okay. This lines up with comic book expectations, I think, with people. And that is sometimes a hard thing to wrestle with, which I've been there myself. Obviously.
I agree. There's and that's one cool thing about critical discourse is that everyone comes from different angles, and a lot of film critics, understandably, aren't comic fans. If they even mention that it's based on, Woman of Tomorrow, the miniseries, then I'm like, oh, maybe you did a little bit of homework. But most of the time, they're coming at it as we just are taking it as a film story.
Right.
And I do think that, and I can't speak for all DC Comics fans, but I would assume that most DC Comics fans who are aware of that miniseries, and of course the character herself, would go into this and come out of it going, nice job. At the very least, like, yeah, you guys threaded that needle really well. A lot of the critics that are coming at it for being derivative of some other things, I'm like, it's based on derivative story matter that Tom King, he's like going, I just did True Grit, and he's admitting it. It's like, it's they look like they've like, we discovered the key to it, and they just ripped off. And you're like, or Mad Max Fury Road. I'm like, they added something that helps a theme that Tom King did not have. And I'm not spoiling that because this is the non-spoilery thing. And I think it works. Is it derivative? Okay, maybe, sure, to some degree. I only find things offensive if they don't work. And generally speaking, I have nitpicks. And I don't agree with you on one thing. I don't agree this is better than Superman. You're like going, I think it's better than Superman. I'm like,
well, no. Okay. I said I think I liked it better than Superman.
You think you like? That's right. That's right. You think you liked it better. And again, that's a personal, totally valid. I think that because of the story it's telling, it has a little bit more weight. Obviously it's a much more emotionally complex story. Whereas Superman, the main thing he had to deal with in Superman is, what I thought I knew about Krypton is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of it. And also, am I too good? Should I be killing people? Well, if you wanted the answer to that, I think these two movies really work well as like a locked in. So I do think they're building a universe.
Yeah.
Anyway,
let's do our like what I did last night.
Yeah.
I want you to do that too. Like not an immediate, obviously you can't do an immediate reaction.
All right. No, let me go back in time. Oh shit. I did go back in time. I'm now hungry again.
Oh, okay.
Because I hadn't eaten. Now I'm there.
Yeah.
Now I have to pee because I had a big old medium Pepsi in the whole movie. Oh. And by the end I was like, that was great. I really have to pee because I'm old now.
That's the worst. I hate when you have to pee.
I did not leave. There was no way I was going to leave. I'm not going to miss a second of that.
Yeah, but then you're at the last minute. You're like, I hate that.
We stayed all the way to see if there was a button. There's no.
So did I.
That's a non-spoilery, guys. There's no reason to stick all the way through the credits.
Yeah, there's no. Yeah, there's a really great scene right before the credits. So you definitely. But and that's where I have one complaint. It has nothing to do with the movie. It's about Regal Theaters. I saw it in an IMAX screen, which was great. It looked gorgeous, felt great. The seats rumbled, in moments. I love that part of it. Not too much, it wasn't the 4DX thing where it's trying to kill you.
It wasn't what do they call it, 4D film. It wasn't like that.
But at the very end, during that last scene, which we will not spoil yet, we'll get to it much later in this, the lights came on.
Oh, they did that?
I'm like, what the fuck are you guys doing?
Didn't happen to my Regal cinema.
So I have to go back. I got a little distracted towards the end of it. And there was some dialogue I missed because I was so pissed off.
You mean the dialogue where Milly looks out into the camera and goes, "Thanks, Chad. I hope you enjoyed the film.
Yeah.
Let your friends know." Yeah. And then she does the finger guns.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, as best as I can recall, my immediate reaction was exactly that with John. What else do they want? And John's like, agreed. We were both very effusive. I immediately, because of the way my brain works, I did immediately go into nitpicks, though clearly nitpicks that didn't bother me. In other words, we've said it before, movies that you love, you can still sit there going like, why would this? But that's the overriding thing was I was satisfied. I wasn't deeply in love, but I mean, I'm a jaded old man. I needed it to, or I would have loved to have walked out saying that's transcendental experience. What I said was, damn, they're off and running. It's like they're cooking. The character work, I will say, and you were right, the reviews that are being, even the worst reviews, Milly is bulletproof, literally, in this movie, pretty much. She's singled out. There are a lot of reviewers like going, I just wish she had a vehicle that was worthy of her. I'm like, well, I think she does a great job here. And I was moved. There were like 2 or 3 beats where I'm like fighting tears. I mean, I'm like sitting there going, I'm not going to cry, but I'm feeling that. It lands, that's why I say things like, what more do they want? Some people, I think, and it is the backlash on superhero movies, the critics seem to need something like an Endgame or something where it has to be so monumental that, like, oh my God, that's just amazing. Whereas if this exact same story had no Supergirl connection, if it was just about these 2 women and a revenge quest and someone who's dealing with PTSD and all this kind of stuff, they would probably have liked it better. I think it's literally the vehicle that delivers the story is what they're like, okay, capes, powers, okay. And I'm like, all right, guys, dude, you guys are, I think they're tired of superhero movies. I think they are affecting their judgment of this. But my whole thing was that felt like a great compromise. And compromise is a bad word. It felt like we can't do that graphic novel. Too long. You wouldn't be able to do that in 2 hours. Also, deeply dependent on the voice of Ruthie, who's technically the protagonist of the miniseries, as opposed to this is Supergirl's movie. I think they balanced that really well. The screenwriter lady, Anna, whatever her name is.
Noguera, I think, yeah.
Okay. Did a great job of taking the essential story, the bones of it, adding things that the movie needed. not necessarily that the book would need, and taking things out that would have been too distracting or too deep into lore, like Comet. I mean, kind of just joking there.
Yeah.
But so I'm watching it as someone familiar with all that and just waiting to see how this slots in with, Gunn's Superman. And it just hit. It was like boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
She's her own character. And that was always one of the problems. We talked about that with Supergirl. The character has always been like, I'm the chipper, younger sibling, almost. Yeah. That's not the character the way they've reinvented her.
And they did some weird things with her throughout the years. They brought her back in the 90s, but it wasn't really her. It was Matrix.
Yeah, she was a Matrix. She
Interesting
was a
character, but it wasn't Kara.
Well, yeah, because the whole mandate was post John Byrne reboot was the whole deal was we want him to be the only Kryptonian survivor. Yeah. And slowly they're like, but people do miss having a Supergirl, so let's have this protoplasmic being shaped into what could be a super. And you're like, okay, all right, man. Cool, you guys. And I'm glad that's not what we got. So it was good eating, and I was with it. My brain did not. It was collecting things that I was like, yeah, I could talk about that, but at the same time, I didn't find it boring. I don't think it dragged. For one thing, they did keep it at a nice run time.
That's true. I didn't even really think about that.
It zips.
I came out of it. It was just
pretty much zips.
It does.
I think visually, and some people were getting on it. Reviewers are getting on the like sloppy action sequences. Things we've seen before, done better in other superhero movies, and you're like going,
so what?
I mean, yeah, exactly. And well, I won't get to my nitpicks.
Okay.
I'll hold on to those because they're about specific things. They're not really that spoilery, a lot of them, where I'm just like going, that was an interesting choice, but why? And one thing I said, they go to this well too often, but I won't say what until we get there. So anyway, that was my immediate thing. I felt so satisfied that I didn't understand. And then I go and read. It's similar to you. It's not what movie did they see. It was just more, what were you expecting? Because I think it's so solid. Some of the faintest praise you get in some of these reviews is it's serviceable, and I'm like,
I just don't get it. I went in because I'd seen the reviews start to come in because the early screening started earlier this week, and some people were starting to put their reactions up, not reviews, because the embargo didn't lift until today, I think.
It may have been like at midnight or something, or they may have dropped.
So I saw enough people. Well, initially, because the pre-screening, like critic screenings and stuff, like a week ago, the initial reviews that were coming in were very positive, which was strange compared to what happened later. And then it started getting all this like, oh, it was okay, it was all right, whatever. And I was like, okay, I'm just shutting. I can't watch any of this right now because I don't. I was getting apprehensive. I was like, oh shit, this is worrying me. So I went in. Not really. I was nervous. I wasn't really sure if I was going to like it or not, and I kept waiting. I was thinking it's probably the humor. Maybe the humor is not going to land. Maybe it's just going to be cringy, whatever. I kept expecting that sort of that feeling to sink in, like
right. Like, oh no,
and it just never did. From like I said in that my immediate reaction thing, I loved every second of it. I was just locked in, and I was totally there. Everything they did, I just thought was so satisfying. Kara has this big reveal moment a little ways into the movie where she's able to do her first big heroic act as with her powers and everything, and it's tremendously satisfying moment that we didn't really get. There's some things that she gets to do in this movie that Superman didn't really get to do in his story because it was a differently framed story.
Right.
In this movie, she is pretty much the only superhero. So that gives her a lot more breath to kind of stretch out in a superheroic way. There's more dynamism. Is that the word? As far as her superheroics, there's more sort of like that in this movie than there was in Superman, I think.
Well, it also earns, and you're right. I think it also, in addition, when you get to the action sequences, one thing that we keep using the word satisfying, which I think does work, mainly because and the critics are like going, underformed villain. I'm like, hey, look, they can't win. Superhero filmmakers now can't win. either they get mocked for the smaller scale stuff where they're going, who cares, man? That's not Thanos. Like every movie has to have like a galaxy destroying, villain. No. Also, like, or if they go too big, then they're like going, oh, like I care about that guy who wants to eat a planet. And you're like, dude, what the fuck do you want? But anyway,
I know.
In this case, I would point those these reviewers literally like, I said this to John too. I was like, they're looking for some kind of incredibly well-crafted villain when what this needed was exactly what we got. A guy who's a good actor, who's going for it, but his character has to be almost two-dimensionally, mustache twirlingly awful. He has to be because of what's going to happen. You need to have that guy be irredeemably and just flatly awful. He can't have shadings. Also, are the stakes not high enough that lives are in danger? Isn't that enough stakes for anything? It's like it doesn't always have to be like the bomb that's going to set off and destroy the multiverse. It's like, what if it's just some people who were in a bad spot? This is me trying to jump around.
What I liked about him is that he was entertaining. Yeah, he was, like you say, mustache twirling. I'm very evil, but he was entertaining. He was creepy and weird, and like I kind of liked. I wasn't really expecting, because I saw in the trailers, I thought, well, he does look kind of like a boring villain. But in the movie, I was like, okay, cool. And I know he was very different from in the comics.
Yes, the aesthetic is very different in general, and I mean that's a choice they made. It worked for me. I love the art. We talked about the comic. I love the art in the comic, and it's ornate. It's and it's so brightly pastel colored and all kinds of stuff. It looks like old European heavy metal type, like fantasy art.
Yeah.
And it works, but they went grounded, also kind of trying to keep the aesthetic that they're already establishing. People that are like going, it owes so much to Gunn. And I'm like, I can see that. And if every DCU movie comes out and it becomes needle drops and it's the same thing and snarky humor, if they all are that will be a mistake. Is this a mistake? No, it's literally, it's showing us another side, but it's the same universe. It's a different character and how she deals with it. So anyway, that stuff, I with the villain, this popped in my head when I was watching. I was like, Once Upon a Time in the West, or The Good and the Bad, the Ugly. These kinds of things that were genre trash, but made by brilliant Italian filmmakers based on American Western stuff. And I sit there going like, those aren't shaded villains. I mean, literally Henry Fonda, he's just like a bad guy. He's just a bad guy, literally wearing black. It's like, what do you need? What you need is someone that the audience is going to be so happy to see getting smacked around.
Yeah.
You earned that by the time she's kicking in, and by the time she's finally, her goal is focused, and she's got her powers. And even when she doesn't have her powers, she's doing her best, which is important for a hero. But when she finally gets to cut loose, that's what I'm talking about satisfying. I wanted to see all of those people decimated. I wanted to see every single one of them get their heads chopped off. Holding on that nitpick. Holding on that nitpick.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yes, I don't understand what.
I loved her, the whole way she plays the character. Her overall, she kind of has this almost like a Harrison Ford kind of attitude throughout the movie. It reminded me a little bit like of Temple of Doom, Harrison Ford.
She's somber. She does not have, or she's looking for something to invest in, feel good about. She is dealing with grief, loss issues that are intrinsic to her character, which even the trailers, it's not like the trailers are promising you a different movie. I'm very happy to report that the trailers are doing a good job of saying, this is not a repeat or rehash. This is not just Superman in a skirt. This is a whole other person who's dealing with finding herself, finding where she belongs, finding her people, and people. God damn it. The reviewers like going, oh, Superman remains this charming oaf. And I'm like, oh, boy, I just, I think his bits in it.
Oh yeah, that's so good.
I mean, again, I just liked it. I still have the hold on.
Okay, yeah.
Anyway,
so let's touch on a couple more things, and then I'll release you from your cage, right? your nitpick cage.
Please release me from my cage.
Please release me.
Let me go.
Yeah, I loved the way she played the character, and I thought that was really satisfying. I thought Ruthie did a great job of capturing the very prim and proper, spoken thing that comes in the comics. Somehow she managed to pull that off, and she was a badass too. I love that she just wouldn't laying down and taking it. She went off and did her own thing many times.
Some reviewers are like going, she gets sidelined, and I'm like, no, Supergirl is protecting her for the longest time.
Yeah,
and then they're like, until Act 3. I'm like, that was they did that on purpose. In Act 3, you see just how capable she is.
Yeah.
I mean, you're waiting for it. If they had continued to have her just safely tucked away while Kara takes care of everything, that would have been a mistake. They don't. Yeah. And she's a badass.
Speaking of Lobo, that's another thing I was worried about, that I wasn't going to like it. I loved it. Every moment he was on screen, the more time he got to kind of breathe and stretch into his performance. And when they did the close-ups on his face and you see his red glowing eyes, I'm like, oh man.
Yeah.
And he had so many satisfying moments where he got to kind of react to what the other characters were doing. And you learn enough about him to say, this guy's not a hero. He's not an altogether evil person, but he's not somebody you want to really spend time with unless you really have to, because he's totally in it for himself. You can't trust him. And they kind of established all that. True
to the way he's portrayed in the comics.
Yeah.
Like, if he's used for good, it's never through altruism. It's usually through what she brings up, a code or respect. It's like, all right, I respect you because you beat the shit out of me. Even in the animated series, it's like, because we're dependent on each other, where they're both in prison, we're both in cells, and it's like going, man, you're a cheese ball. I don't like you, but I respect the hell out of you because you literally knocked me on my ass. So let's work together. And you're like, that's the dude.
Yeah, totally.
The main man.
And I'll say what I said in my immediate reaction too is that I'm so grateful for this film and this is, again, not a dig against Superman. When Superman came out, you and I were both saying, because our hackles are up. Everybody was like, are we going to like this? Are we going to like this? I don't know. So after seeing Superman, I did not walk out feeling like I did last night, because it was an emotional roller coaster for me. Emotionally and nerd brain wise, I was not fully prepared for what Superman was. It grew on me very quickly. But for Supergirl, I was ready. I was ready for it, and I met it on the level that it was, and I was on a high, and I can't remember the last time I felt that good coming out of a movie theater. It's been a long time.
That is as high as an endorsement as Chad Smalley knows how to give. It's true. Again, I'm on the same page. I'm maybe just a couple of paragraphs lower.
No, and I get it.
But I loved it. I would watch it now. I kind of wish I could.
Yeah.
I'm very excited now to have that, for me, feel well done enough. I'm like, bring on what you guys are going to do next. Whether, obviously the next thing will be Clayface, and the trailer that was in front. I mean, I was like, okay, great. Please, more. It didn't show me too much that I haven't seen. So I'm like, okay, but I'm very much looking forward to that.
So, all right, folks, I think we both agree. You need to go watch this movie. Do not listen to the critics.
You can not like it, obviously, but don't let them take the experience away from you.
Yes.
I doubt you'll hate it. I mean, I just don't. I can't imagine you guys would. Anyway, yes. We're about to start into spoilers, so there you go. Okay. I got nothing. What, you got any?
Nitpicks. Unleash the nitpicks, sir.
Unleash the nitpicks. Hey, guys out there in PSAPS land, always follow the P.